following episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind contains explicit language and adult content. The thoughts and opinions stated on this show are reflective of AZ Orsini, the Steve Dave, and their guest exclusively. Seriously, guys, my dada and uncle say some pretty crazy stuff. If it offends you, go be butthurt somewhere else.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Minds, and now your host, AJ Orsini with Dave.
Hey, what's going on, everybody out there? It's your boy, AJ Orsini here with episode 299. I am beginning to realize it is a lot easier to keep track of the numbers when they get awfully close to big time special numbers. So next week, episode 300, I haven't decided if that's going to be special or not. Unfortunately, today is a much more somber day, I should say. For recording, I was about a hair away. What was it Tommy Davidson used to say? A frog's hair away from fucking canceling today. Possibly even canceling this week. But you don't let the question mark fool you. We are here, and Dave, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
He's here. He is in the house, or he's in his house.
My house.
My house. This
I pay the bills around here.
Just out here, dick swinging. Yeah, so this is, I'm going to try to make sure that it's not 100% somber and down, or whatever the case may be. This past weekend, there was a show that took place on Sunday. A lot of good friends of mine took place. I'm all over the place. A show took place. They participated in it. How about that? That's better. Unfortunately, there was an extremely tragic situation that took place this past Sunday in New Jersey. A good buddy of mine by the name of Vince Steele unfortunately had an emergency situation mid-match in the ring, and unfortunately due to that, he has passed away. There has been a ton of chatter online from not just my circle, but I want to thank Cultaholic Wrestling for picking up the story and giving it the attention that I think it rightfully deserved. There's been a lot of media outlets that have picked up on this, and so far they really only have the information about the basics, which is that he was in the ring, performing, doing what he loves, and something happened. Well, we don't know the specifics. I'm not going to sit here and play prognosticator and fake doctor and do the diagnosis, but he had collapsed in the ring. The referee, thank goodness, was a CPR AED trained referee. They administered CPR in the ring. The staff and performers took their time clearing out the venue. I want to give BCW credit for having the guts and the courage to treat the situation as seriously as they did. You know, it's a real situation, and they acted accordingly. There was no discussion needed. The event needed to come to an end, and it did. I want to thank the fans for being understanding of the situation, because they didn't know what was happening at the time. It's all happening very, very fast, but no one, there wasn't any pushback or any issue amongst the fans. They told BCW staff and personnel to handle their situation. We'll figure everything out later. Unfortunately, he passed away from his injuries. So, haven't been in the best of moods. Unfortunately, this is not the first time that I've experienced this and have had to have my brave hat on for the show. So, like I said to Dave just now, I'm gonna try to make sure that like it's not all negative and it's not all downward attitude here. We still have a lot of cool stuff that we want to talk about. I'm not doing any of the graphic shit. We're not doing any of the cutaways with the segments and all that stuff. Just seems weird. I'll bring all the comical shit back next week. But we have the last 2 episodes of Game Changers to talk about. Episode 7, Episode 8. 7 being the Sega Nintendo Rivalry. 8, of course, is the wonderful universe that is Minecraft. And John Cena finally gave us his reasoning this past Monday on a special edition of Monday Night Raw, which took place earlier in the day due to the time zone difference in Barcelona, Spain. So I was getting clips from that show while I was still in the car driving back from work. So I wanted to finish the Game Changer stuff. The Game Changer stuff has been doing really good for us on both on social media and on YouTube. So I want to complete that series and got to talk about John. And then Dave did not know Vince, so I don't know. If you want to stick around for that part, you let me know. But I got some stuff to say at the end of the show. So it might not be that long of a show here, folks. We're probably going to be in and out. More than likely, the Game Changer stuff will be probably the stuff we talk about the longest, because I'm not going to sit here and go on and on about the other topics. I will say my piece and pay my respects to my good friend later at the end of this. And as is tradition with this show, because again, this isn't the first time this has happened, we will pay homage to Vince in the only way that true Ring Warriors can appreciate. We will end this episode not with my son, but with the 10-bell salute, as we've lost a brother of the mat to a higher calling. He's getting booked on the big show. So we're happy for that, and more stuff on that later. But let's get into some of the fun stuff. Let's keep it more upbeat. Let's keep the energy up a little bit. Like I said, I'm not doing much of the cutaways or the gags or anything today. We will have our jokes. We will be laughing. We will be having our good time. So stay tuned for that. Before we get into Game Changers, which is where I want to start our show, Dave, I have to update you on a few things. Our journey, you there with me?
Yep.
Okay, so our journey as co-hosts here for this show, I feel I owe you and I owe the audience a tremendous apology.
Oh shit! What'd you do?
It's what I didn't do, and I want to apologize because 3 years into the show is when you jumped on as a co-host, and so I did it by myself for 3 years, and then you've been my co-host for 3 years. We're going to be 3 years as we progress through this final couple months here from when the show started. And when I originally started the podcast, it was very, very important to me that I put the podcast in the best possible position to succeed. So I did my homework. Before we launched this show, I did my homework. And the reason why I landed on Podbean to be my place of, where I'm going to start storing all of my information, where I'm going to create my RSS feed, this is going to be the home central for my show, wasn't just affordability, because it really was kind of one of the more affordable choices, but it offered me a lot of unlimited features. I was able to keep track of the progress of the show, fan interaction, sharing, commenting, which countries and shit that it was being heard in, which, for the record, this show has been heard in so many countries that it's obscene. So I'm always appreciative of that. I haven't mentioned that in a long time because I haven't been on the website in a long time to check. But when last I checked, it must have been like 60 or 70 different countries that we've been heard in. And it's insane. And I always pushed out the information. I edited everything. I always tried to, I put full shows together. I put those out for people to consume, and I thought I was doing a really good job, and I put the RSS feed into other places, so now people who listen to the show didn't even have to go to Podbean, and they could listen through iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, which, by the way, we're still on these. The biggest streaming sites in the world, this show can be heard through that venue. They're all, by the way, linked in the link tree, which is the one that I use the most to promote the show. So many of you who are listening to me right now probably found that link at some point. Every now and then I put something on the YouTube, but YouTube is usually just so tight with their restrictions, with the audio, with the visual. It's all just, it's very touchy. So I was very unmotivated to do things with YouTube. I would post. It's not like there's nothing on there. I would post, but I would always get kickback for some reason, some sort of copyright issue. So, I don't know. It was irking me. I just didn't want to fuck with it. So then the thing in December happened, and Podbean fucked me yet again. So I just ripped up what was left of my hair on my head and just fucking gave up and tapped out. And just decided, all right, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to dump all my shit on YouTube. At least it's free for me, and I'm verified, so I don't have to worry about time limits on my shit. So I just said, fuck it. And I started putting it on fucking YouTube. So the way that it's designed now, well, not even now. Let me not get into that yet. But what I started doing is that once I got pissy about that, in January through to February and now to March, what we do is me and you record on Tuesday. After we're done recording, I sit on my laptop for another hour and change, and I edit. I edit the audio first, then I add flyers or whatever the case may be, pictures or whatever, to make it a full video. I upload the audio to Podbean as per the norm. That way you guys can still hear it on those other sites. I don't want to take that away because that's been useful in the past, so we'll keep that. And then I made a full video for YouTube. After I upload the full episode to YouTube, I then cut out each individual segment and have that scheduled to release once a day for the whole week. So every day now, something is scheduled to release on the YouTube channel. And I put in the time. So I've got the videos with the shorter titles, the full description. I've got the hashtags on there. It's full. It's fully written out. Each fucking thing. I have a website that programs my social media for me, so all I have to do is I have to just take a day to just input the whole schedule, and then I don't have to touch it for the rest of the week. So me and my wife, we're doing stuff out this past weekend. We're going out for wings. We're doing this. We're doing that. And while I'm at the wings table, my phone is notifying me that my YouTube video was ready. And then an hour later, all of my social media pings. Ding, 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 like that. It's perfect. So it became easier to post on YouTube.
Damn.
Now, here's the interesting part. This is where I think I owe you and I owe the Squad of O here quite an apology, because from January to today, just by putting our stuff on YouTube, that's it, not even the rest of the stuff that I'm going to tell you, just that part, we have tripled in viewership.
Damn.
Tripled in the last 3 months. Tripled. And that got me motivated, because not only have people been checking out our recent stuff, they're going back into the channel because my numbers across the board are going up. Okay. I have an interview that I did when I was an interviewer with House of Glory that I think it was Amazing Red. I can't remember who I did the interview with. For the longest time, it had 50 views. It's currently at 1,000.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's currently at 1,000.
Huge.
Yeah. Last week, you and I talked about Lex Luger in the Hall of Fame.
Hell yeah.
And that was part of the show last week. That episode, the full episode, went up Wednesday, but the Luger clip didn't go up till Sunday. Mm-hmm. It's currently over 100 views.
Wow.
So then I got a curious idea. So I was like, okay, so people are either clicking it on social media or they're finding it in YouTube through my hashtagging. Let me make it easier. So I spent 2 days. And what I did was I went back. I went all the way back to my original videos. And I deleted all of my playlists. However I had it organized, I got rid of it. I don't even remember how I had it organized, right? So I got rid of all that. I got rid of all that. And I noticed that a lot of this is how long it's been since I touched it. I had videos on there that were like, hey, you can catch Orsini's Uncensored Mind every Wednesday at 9 p.m. at this website. And I'm like, what is this website? And what? I don't even remember advertising a time. I used to advertise a time. So I had to get rid of that. So I was just deleting all the descriptions, all the titles, started adding all the hashtags. And then I changed the playlists. So now what happens is you know how when we promote the show, we always tell people, hey, this is a podcast about, pro wrestling. We talk about sports. We talk about movies. We talk about Marvel. That's how we advertise ourselves, that we keep a very varied, broad conversation. It's not just pro wrestling. So the more I started seeing clips, the more playlists I started making. And I started making the playlists very specific so that it'd be easier to search. So the easy stuff, like my interviews, it's simple, right? AJOUM interviews. Or my promos, AJOUM promos. Or my specials. Or anytime I did commentary on a match, AJOUM commentary. That was the easy one, right? But I started noticing that whether you and I attempted to do this on purpose or not, our conversations are actually very fucking varied. Because I started making playlists. I have a sports playlist, AJOUM Sports Talk, with a shit ton of clips in there because apparently we've talked a bunch of sports. Even before you
talked a bunch of sports.
I was gonna say, yeah, before you even got here. So I have a Marvel playlist because apparently we've done a lot of Marvel on the show. I have what was the one that was up here? The one that had me. I was like rolling in my fucking roundtables. I gave the roundtables their own fucking playlist because again we've done a bunch of them. Not television. I put show talk, so shows. So like our Squid Game conversation and stuff like that. Stuff about the news when I talked about the congestion pricing and we talked about the wildfires. We have a new playlist that we just set up for the What If series. We have 2 of those in there. What if Abyss didn't leave? What if Abyss left TNA and what if Stone Cold didn't turn heel? I also now have playlists for the full episodes and not a whole playlist of like 299 fucking episodes. You'd be there all day loading that shit. So I have the playlist set up by 50, episodes 1 through 50, 51 through 100. So if you're looking for something specific, you don't have to scan through a bunch of shit. It's actually a pretty finite fucking thing that you can look through. I've got, what's this one here? AJ Orsini's personal stories. So this is recent stuff, like when we talked about the internet wrestling community, or we talked about Valentine's Day and my Bingo Loco stuff. Deceived Dave versus Amazon was the one that just fucking posted yesterday.
My little bitch fit.
Yeah, we clipped that out. It's a 5-minute clip of you going off about the fucking couch. And it was a great fucking story. Everybody fucking identified with that story. Fuck Amazon.
There's a follow-up on that one, by the way.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Hold on. I'd love to do a part 2. Just give me 1 second here. So we have, like, even some of the older stuff, like the Mississippi Story, Toothache Suck, all that stuff. The thing that we did with sex and wrestling terms was in this. Our premium vagina tightening gel with Amazon Prime clip is in here.
That was a classic.
That's a classic.
You know how they did me after we did them big? We brought them so much business.
It's too much business to be sitting here betraying your trust.
Like, listen.
So when I tell you people that it's a complete and total rebrand, I fucking mean it. And I'm so motivated to keep working on it because every time I do something new, more people watch it.
I don't understand where the apology comes from.
The apology is I should have done this shit a lot sooner. We would have been in a much better position if I would have jumped on this sooner. Although
I will be in a better position tomorrow.
I do love the fact that I have.
I do need a better mic though. I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah, I've had some.
I
complaints.
gotta upgrade the mic situation.
I've had some complaints. Yes, but
I know.
But it's okay. It's okay.
But if
it's
we get better eyes, maybe it's time to just a little bit.
We're getting more eyes on the show, and we're doing some pretty cool stuff. So I just want to put that out there first of all to you, to let you know that your hard work getting on here ain't going to waste. And for those out there who are listening, thank you so much for paying attention to the show. For now we're getting comments on the fucking YouTube channel. This one was hilarious to me. Let me see if I can find the Abyss one, because that was the one people started sharing stories over here. Like, what the fuck? What was the? Oh, here's the video link with somebody. Abyss Edge. No. I don't want to hear it. Here it goes. Somebody had made mention that Abyss wrestled under the gimmick Prince Justice as an independent promotion, which is very, very true, with MWA many years ago, and Abyss would have been huge in WWE. Him versus Brock would have been amazing, which I concur. I like that statement. I actually did physically like it. I was like, oh, that does make sense. I would have appreciated that. That's pretty good. But yes, so that's the YouTube side of things. We've completely rebranded it. It's doing well, so thank you guys for that. What is the update that you just said a second ago for Amazon? What the hell happened with that?
Oh, yeah, so they resent me my shit out like I told you it was going to. It's supposed to be here on Monday.
Right.
I was bitching about it coming on Monday. It came on Saturday.
Oh!
Like midday. So I'm like, all right. I'm trying to get some forgiveness. All right, not yet. We'll see. I built it. And, whatever. I didn't expect this thing to be the most comfortable thing in the world, but it was actually terribly comfortable. It was a lot smaller than I thought it was. But again, I'm not blaming them. That's me. The measurements are on there. I should have measured. I did measure, just not like all of it. I really just did the
half-ass measuring.
No, I did the width of the whole thing, right? Like my brain, because I was just trying to where I was positioning on the wall. I just didn't want it to be too big. So I just the width of it, but I didn't really measure the cushion, if I would have did that, I would have known better, but I didn't. So whatever, it came in, it was a little small. I was like, whatever. So we're sitting here contemplating what we're going to do with it. She's like, all right, well, what about the bed part of it, right? Because it's supposed to pull out, and then you pull the thing up, it pops out and lays flat with the rest of the couch. It makes basically this rectangle that you can lay on. I opened it up. First of all, it was a pain in the ass to opened it, locked it, or so I thought. Sammy jumps on it. She goes, yay, couch. And then the part that pops out fucking slid, and she fell through the couch. I'm like, all right, well, boxing this back up. So
Jesus.
I fucking boxed it up. I literally put it together, sat on it. It was out for 5 minutes, and I broke it back down, put it back in the box, and fucking had to reship that shit right back, dude.
Are they willing to give you the refund on the couch?
Oh, I'm getting the refund on the couch. Bet your ass I'm getting the refund.
Yeah, you have to put in the description, couch attempted to swallow my daughter.
Oh, no, I did. I made sure I didn't want any resistance on this. So I was like, because I had to call the guy because they only sent me one shipping label. You need three because it's 3 boxes. So I called him. He's like, hey, so what's the reason for returning? I'm like, my daughter fell through the couch. He goes, all right, well, I'm going to send this over to you right now.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and just process this refund for you.
Like, yeah, my daughter was so happy to see the couch. She jumped on the bed part. The bed part slid out, and she fell straight down to the ground and hurt herself. Yeah. So all you have to do is go into your app, and when you open it up, the labels will be right there, sir. All right? You have a good day. Thank you kindly. She did fall. She didn't really hurt herself. She was good because my
but you got to sell it though.
But absolutely. The case
she could have hurt herself, and that's the important part.
Yeah. So yeah, we're square on my end. I just thought it was hilarious that I went through all that. I was able to build it, and then immediately put it right back in the box. Thank God I didn't open it like a baboon. And was able to ship it back, which was another pain in the ass because it just barely fit in the car. I'm out of the game for a couch for a while, dude. Fuck that. I'll deal with the broken one that I have for now. Fuck it. But yeah, that's my Amazon update. I got it. I sent that bitch right back, dude. Don't buy shit.
You got it, and it attempted to fucking swallow you.
Yes, it tried to eat my child, so I sent it back. So whatever. It is what it is. That's my fun update with Amazon. I immediately went and bought headphones, so I'm not gonna disown them. I just don't buy. I know this is probably obvious, but like, don't buy fucking furniture. not like couches or anything. The beds are kind of ass too. But hey, if you're in a pinch and your shit's broken, it's fine. But like, I'm all right, dude. I'll sleep on the floor. I'll sit on the floor if I have to. Fuck that.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the update there from fucking the Amazon situation. Let's get into game changers. Let's talk a little video game action. Episode. Let me pull my notes up first and foremost because I wrote notes because I forget things all the time. Every single fucking time we do something on the show, and I'm like, yeah, let's talk about that, and then we do 30 minutes and I didn't even fucking say it. So I want to make sure. Here we go. Up in the right here. And we were at episode 7. There we go. So, Sega. Can I just start off the back right here? Just at the beginning of this episode, I was very uncomfortable with the opening of this episode.
Uncomfortable?
Physically uncomfortable.
Understood.
He was just like, then you sit back, and you relax. And you take your video game and you open up the package and you give it a blow.
No, stop. I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you. Instantly, I'm disconnected. No one's ever done that.
He made it sound so erotic.
But no one does that. You know what? Since we're on YouTube now, I'll fucking pose a question. I don't know if this end up being a clip or not, but
okay.
Put the comment. Who the fuck took a disc out the cartridge, by the way? Not one that you've stored.
Right.
One that you've just bought. You crack it open. That's what he said, right? You get the game, you open it up, you give it a blow. Who the fuck blew on the disc? I need to know.
On an optical disc. Who blew on that disc?
Never. Now, I'll tell you one thing that I did do that was a ritual that even my mom got into it. Where when I would buy a new game, we would do this every time a new game come out. She would take me to GameStop. She would send me in there to buy my game. Sit in the car. We'd look at each other. We'd be like, ooh. And then I'd slowly peel the little tape that seals like the opening part. Sometimes you can cut it, but if you get a good peel on it, you can just like peel it off. And then I put my 2 fingers right on the center, right where you can just pop it right open, and I'd hold it up.
See, now you're
to my
doing
nose.
it.
No, no, this is good. I'd hold it up to my nose, and then Mom would be on the other side, and I'd be like, "All right, you ready?" And then 1, 2, 3, and I just crack it like an egg.
Oh
just
my god!
Crack it, and all of that plastic smell just comes rushing out. Oh. I don't think I'll ever get that smell ever again, man. I can't remember the last time I bought a physical copy of something.
Here, I'm gonna do this. Hold on.
You know how it goes. Pick out a game, pop it out of the case, give it a blow, then stare into that deep, data-rich black abyss with a yearning to unlock its fantastic world within. This, as you know, is the PlayStation.
Oh my god! First of all, that sound. Pew! Whoa! That PlayStation Open. That PlayStation Open was
that PlayStation 1 Open, yeah.
Was the line between life and death. If you popped in a disc and that shit didn't happen, you're not playing nothing.
Yeah,
that's it. You're done.
PlayStation players will know this too, right? When it would come on like that. And it would do like that, then it'll go, do, like something like that. If that went too long, your shit was scratched. You knew it was gonna freeze on the white screen. You wanted it did the white screen, and then it would make a noise, a certain sound when it like changed to the black screen. And if it lingered on the white one, you got to go get the toothpaste. Start rubbing it on
he
the
said
disc.
Toothpaste. There it is.
You got to fill in the cracks.
That's old school. Well, that's what it sounds like this dude was trying to do. He was trying to get in between the cracks, man.
Damn, you know what's crazy
Your
is that
butt
we're
crack.
talking about this like blowing into cartridges. Like we're talking about CDs, like we would normally talk about cartridges, and it's crazy to me. That blows my mind.
I just found
know
out that in Denver, Colorado, there's a 90s museum. Did you hear about this?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's a whole museum dedicated to stuff that was existing and people used in the 90s.
Damn, where is it? Denver?
It's in Denver, yeah. It's in Colorado.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I guess we're feeling nostalgic.
Although Colorado, if it is what I hear about all the mountains and shit, I'm sure it's pretty cool.
They ain't doing
There's something about the word Colorado makes me feel like there's a lot of racism too, so it's not on the top of my list.
Oh well, it's no Boston, I'll tell you that.
Well,
How does this sentence hit you? Sega PlayStation. They tried to hook me with that one. They put that shit out there. I was like, what does that mean? What are we about to get into? And
I mean, if that's what we're talking about right now, that's the thing where I sat there and I really thought about that. Like, if they went, if Homie in Japan didn't egg that, what would be the future today?
Well, Tom was
Sonic
right.
With the powerhouse of Sony behind it at that time would have been fucking huge.
Okay, it would have been huge. There's no doubt about that. But was it fucking with the plumber? I don't know. Nintendo was a giant, my boy. He's a giant. Not only just the access to Sonic, not only just like the disc and stuff, but the power of bringing video games and toys and amusement and all this merriment to the great state of Hawaii. All y'all motherfuckers thought we was headed to Japan. I love that little head fake they gave us. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna wash up on the shores of Japan." Nope, we're going to Hawaii. I was like, "Ooh, Hawaii."
Hawaii's nice this time of year.
Hawaii is nice every time of year. Sega started off as a company called Standard Games, making slot machines for American military bases, and that's exactly where you should put slot machines. Military bases. I wasn't in the room, but I can assure you, if I had been, I'd have been like, I don't know about that. And then Congress said, yeah, I don't know about that shit neither. So they got rid of that shit quick. Because I know motherfuckers is getting jigged up in there. Move, I want to play. Nah, I'm playing. No, I want to play. And everyone's broke. And then that's it. Problems. Then they got bought over by the company in Japan, and that's when they became Service Games, which for short, Service SE Games GA Sega. Now, when they did this in the clip, they said, Sega, from the commercials. And they were like, oh, that was like the most infamous way that Americans knew Sega. Sega! I know that it's correlated to the commercial, but that's not the way that I say it in my head. I never mimicked the commercial. I always mimicked the system. Every time I think of Sega, there it is. Boom. That's how I do it in my head. I always thought the Sega thing was stupid. Sega!
Which is crazy. I would have think it'd be the other way around for you because you're an actual TV person.
Yeah.
For me, that's what comes to my mind, but that's because I was always playing the game. I wasn't watching commercials.
Yeah, I thought the commercials were stupid, to be honest with you. Like, the way that they described the marketing in this video, where they were just like, yeah, we went right for Nintendo and all that other shit, and I was just like, I'm glad I wasn't that much older when I was doing those commercials, because I was a kid, and I thought those commercials were fucking dumb. When they had, like, the race car, and it would vroom past Nintendo, and Sega! I'm like, he sounds retarded, to be honest with you. He sounds off. He sounds...
Honestly, because I saw that too, and I was like, man, like, it has this very nostalgic look to it, so it's cool to see it. Like, it kind of gives me, like, man, I was young enough to not even remember this. Like, that's how old this kind of was, but it gives me that feeling that, like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's like a throwback. But if you look, I'm like, at the same time, I'll just be like, dude, these commercials are fucking ass. Like I feel like you're meant for people on drugs.
Yeah.
Like, it just moves so... It was like they were ahead of their time. Like, they knew psychology was important. They just didn't understand probably what people understand today. So it was just a bunch of shit thrown at you at once. And they'll say their catchphrase, or they'll throw some shade at someone else, or a sublim. Like, why are you making subliminal commercial for children? they don't get the reference.
Yeah, they're not
They don't
Well,
understand.
to them, they were saying that and we joked about this when we were doing, we were talking about Sega during the Madden football phase, that they said it here again, that they were gearing the game more towards the older brother, the teenagers, there's like a little the higher
Cool,
level,
edgy kids.
yeah, the rebels,
It's funny because he said our games had to have attitude, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy because that is the attitude era. That was
the era of
so
all that.
That was interesting that even other companies kind of saw.
It was a buzzword, man. That shit was everywhere.
It was what the generation kind of was at that time.
It was rebellion. It was just going, which is so ironic because those kids grew up and had kids of their own and are so far away from what rebel is supposed to be. All those kids grew up and voted for Trump this year.
Yeah, probably. I believe it. I 100% believe it.
They all vote. They're all government officials now. It's just like, there was something to this establishment shit. It's Jesus Christ.
We need structure.
Yeah, we need structure. That's what's wrong with you fucking kids. Yeah, but my day we had Molly. You guys have cell phones. This generation sucks. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with that. And then they were bought over by Gulf and Western, which was also the parent company that owned Paramount Pictures, so they were in good company. They had the finances. And they mentioned Pongtron, which we had mentioned again in one of the other games when we were talking about the crash of '83 and how all those ripoffs kind of killed the market. It was so funny to hear this episode when they said, yeah, when the crash in '83 happened, Sega just went back to Japan because there was no crash in Japan. Let that be known for the record, folks. Japan never fell off. Never fell off. America had an issue. Too much too soon. Japan was like, gimme, gimme, gimme. That's it. And Japan never fell off. They never had a crash. So they took their business over there. Tom Kalinske. I remembered him from when we did High Score. He was in High Score. The other documentary we saw about the video games, he was the one that had he wrote down the steps. Here they stated it. But in the High Score, he actually wrote down the steps. We're going to lower the price of the console. We need a mascot. We need someone to go after Mario. And then we're going to market against Nintendo. We're going to make fun of them. And we never got the other side of that. And the other side, not the Nintendo side, but I mean, he was the American VP of marketing and CEO of all this stuff. But the main hub and headquarters is in Japan. And I thought it was hilarious to hear that as aggressive as this motherfucker was, Japan hated it. They were like, oh, this motherfucker's crazy. You a rude motherfucker. They kept taking the money, but they didn't like the way the money was coming in. They were like, no, we'll take the check, but Jesus Christ, calm down.
That's why I think him drawing the line at Sony was kind of fucking stupid, man.
He let him get away with all this other shit. Yeah.
Now here's the thing. I won't say it is stupid in that aspect. But if there's one thing about Japan, and Nintendo proves it, is that they understand a certain way of doing things, and they understand of keep it simple, stupid, and don't fix it if it's not broken. Those are concepts that I've noticed in just across the board in the way they do business. It's like that's what they do. That's why Nintendo has the same motherfuckers that applied for a junior role is now one of the CEOs of the company type of shit. Like, you work for Nintendo, you don't leave. You die there.
Yeah.
You go to that job forever.
You can't leave if you want to leave. You live here now. They're
just very consistent with their practices. So it doesn't shock me that they didn't want to involve someone else. Especially, if I'm not mistaken, Sony is an American company, right?
Sony is
based in
No,
America?
that was also Japanese, Sony.
Oh, Sony was. Okay,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, so even worse. I don't know. I understand why you're like, okay, enough is enough. Like, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? Because he didn't want to do the first thing. I forget exactly what it was, but he got up and walked away, and then he turned around and said, I told you you can do what you want, so I'm going to keep my promise. He let that one slide. I forget which one that was for. But then on this one, he was like, nah, fuck that. You're not doing that. So And like I said, with Nintendo and stuff like that, you can show their consistency. They like to do certain practices or whatever the case may be. So I think he kind of had that mentality when that happened, but I still think that joining teams with Sony would have been something fucking special, man. We would have gotten certain movies a lot sooner. You would have had a larger budget, and you would have had people more brains that probably made better decisions. Because didn't they say, like, what was it? One of the quotes was Sony just always did everything wrong.
Yeah, Sony is a company that does everything wrong all the time.
Everything wrong. So another opinion would have been helpful to, maybe give them a little bit more longevity, because at the end of the day, Sony's still kicking right now. And Sega is the one that pretty much got absorbed by Nintendo, if I'm not mistaken, for the most part, right? Because they're in like Smash and stuff like that. So they at least do business with them, that's for sure.
Yeah. There's been some sort of crossing of the hairs there. We'll get more into that in the next episode. Fuck, do I have a fucking speech for you on the next one?
I'm glad, because the next one, I ain't gonna hold you, bro. It put me to sleep.
Oh, it's okay. So let's get finished with this one, then. They also, they invented the Intellivision machine, and it was about right here toward the middle. Definitely at the end, it confirmed it. But right here toward the middle, when I started to realize something, did you pick up on this? Did these episodes get uploaded to Max in the incorrect order? I started realizing, based on the ending of the episode, that they were giving you teases for the next episode, but some of these episodes had already happened. So I was like, oh.
Yeah, some of the things was weird. I remember they said something about Madden. I don't remember if it was at the end, but it felt like it was the lead up to the Madden episode, but then they no longer talked about fucking Madden.
Yeah, because the Madden episode happened earlier. They did. They
teased it was like the first one. Yeah, the editing was a little weird. I didn't know if it was me, but now that you bring it up, yeah, I definitely noticed that shit.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, all right, well, we already saw that shit, so fuck it. So the first ever rivalry, well, not the first ever rivalry. The rivalry is the whole thing, but the first shot fired in the rivalry between Sega and Nintendo goes way back before the consoles that we all know and love. It was the Sega's SG-1000 versus Nintendo's Famicom. They were both released July 15th, 1983. About 5 months. I was a 5-month-old baby when these motherfuckers started their war. Now here I am at 42 talking about it. That's their legacy, folks. Nintendo won the war, but not by much, which led Nintendo to get a little nervous. A little on the iffy side. We're gonna have to put these fuckers away because they creeping up on us. So they rebranded the Famicom and came out with the Nintendo Entertainment System console, the gray box we all know and love so much. Sega decided they wanted to try their hands at attacking Nintendo from within, and they managed to convince Bruce Lowry to come over to Sega from Nintendo, and he introduced the Sega Master System. I was like, woo, that's a coup. They staged a coup. They went and got their golden boy, the golden goose, and brought him over to Sega to try to switch the tide. That's like AEW signing Roman Reigns over. Let's see if we can make a little money. And exactly what would happen if AEW got Roman Reigns is what happened here. Sega still lost. Because, as they said, the quote they kept getting from fans and from customers, you can't play Mario on Sega.
Yep.
And that was the whole issue. The original consoles were 8-bit versus 8-bit. They didn't have a chance to compete against the branding, the overall popularity of Mario. However, they did make an attempt. Alex Kidd was the first mascot attempt. When I told
was that disgusting looking?
Yes, it was janky. But you know what? Alex Kidd is in. There's a video game on. It's on Xbox, but I'm pretty sure it's on other consoles by now. Sonic Racers. It's like Mario Kart, but for Sonic characters. And I guess some classic Sega characters got into the game as kart racers. And Alex Kidd was one of them. I didn't know who Alex Kidd was, but my son obviously became a huge fan of that racer because guess what? As he put it, I'm a kid and my name is Alex.
Fair enough.
So that was it. That's all he needed. We're on the same side here. So I told Alex this was Sega's first attempt. Did not do well, did not sell well, but that's all right. They kept on pushing, and they came up with another system called the Sega Mega Drive. But that branding didn't work out so well. So they said, you know what? We'll give it a fresh coat of paint. Let's call it the Sega Genesis. And folks, history was made. Because the 16-bit Sega Genesis was the shit. Now, they rattled off a couple of classics, but
they had some bangers. When they ran through the clip.
Yeah, when they ran through the clip,
damn.
they had some winners.
Dude, when they showed Sonic 2, oh my
When
Super Sonic?
when they started rattling names off, obviously the Sonic names go without saying, but there were two in particular that they said where I was like, ugh, for us, memory lane. When he said Golden Axe and when he said Ghosts and Ghouls, I was like, oh, baby. Now you stepping into my zone now. I'm over here with the lance and butt naked in my boxers and my little helmet, and I'm going nuts. I'm tossing shit. That's it. So, they ran through a bunch of CEOs. Tom Kalinske comes in. He takes over Sega marketing, and the rest is history. He goes banana sandwich. We just talked about it a second ago with the whole Sega. That was all him and all these people just. Only a white person can say this out loud, and it makes total sense to them. Where he was like, I loved it. I loved that. Sega, I love that part. It almost sounds Japanesey. I was like, what? What did he say? I was like, it sounds Japanesey. All right, calm down. Jesus Christ. What is it from Shorzy? Settle down. When he said that, I fucking went nuts. I'm going to fuck up this name because I always fuck up Japanese names. But Hirokazu Yoshihara created, he was the artist that created Sonic. Mm-hmm. Now, again, I remember from High Score, they went into a little bit more specifics in High Score about how he came about creating the character. He went through a couple of animals before he wound up on the hedgehog. A lot of people forget that he had the human girlfriend in the original thought process for the actual game. They got rid of that. And they jumped on something that I didn't really think about until they said it, because it's easy to think about with Mario. That Mario wasn't just a character-based game. It created a universe. You have all these characters that came out of the Super Mario world that you think about when you associate with Mario. They started that process throughout the games with Sonic. Because all of a sudden, it's not just Sonic. It's not just Sonic and Robotnik or Eggman. It's not just them. It's Tails. It's Knuckles. And you go down the list of it. And they've expanded crazy. Like, there's so many Sonic characters now today. But in the beginning, they were building this whole universe around this main person. They said something in the show that I immediately thought of you, because I remember you. You probably don't remember this, but I'm old enough to remember. One of the first times that you and I ever played Sonic, because I'll never forget this experience in my life. This is one of the greatest memories I have to this day. But me and you, and this again is an inside story, so if you're listening to this, you're not going to get the details, but our father had weekend visitation with us when we used to live in Connecticut. He lived in Windsor, Connecticut. And every now and then he would take us to a neighboring town called Enfield. And they had, I looked, they don't have it anymore, but they used to have a mall in Enfield called the Enfield Mall. And I'll never forget that mall for as long as I live, because that mall, right at the center of it, had kiosks where you could play video games. You could play Nintendo, you could play Sega. It all depends, first come, first serve type shit. And I distinctly remember, for the first time, before we even bought it, before we even had it, we played it there. And I remember very distinctly one of our takeaways from Sonic, because it was the first time we played Sonic, was that it was such a fast game. Like, the way they said it in the show was actually true, that if you hold down and you really revved it, and you fucking just let it go, and he just went through the loops and everything like that, it would move so fast, sometimes the screen wouldn't be able to keep up with just how fast it was fucking going. And they were like, yeah, that's like part of the attraction of the game. It's like, there's so much speed, that's what makes 16-bit so different. I never associated that to the 16 and the 8, but it makes complete sense that with the graphics being upgraded, all of a sudden you open up this whole new world of what you're able to do. Do you have what was your earliest memory of playing Sonic? Because we used to crush that fucking game. We were on that game all the time.
I have a few memories with Sonic. One, the game Sonic 2. I remember I got in big trouble. This is probably the biggest trouble I've gotten, and I would say it's up there. When I was supposed to be watching Wayne and she was in the walker, and I had just fucking got Supersonic, and I didn't realize the door was open, so she walked out and fell down the steps in the walker.
We've never let her forget that shit since. Yes, I make that walker joke in her house today.
She was upside down at the bottom of the steps, and I'm surprised I'm still alive. I got fucking killed for that. However, I did get Supersonic.
Yeah.
And
it was a heavy cost to pay.
I remember Supersonic. I think it was towards the end of the game where he's I don't know, looks like he's in space or something like that. I just remember a dark screen and he zooms into him a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I remember this incorrectly, but I just remember getting Supersonic, hearing those booms and knowing she was at the bottom, and then running back into the room because it was fucking Supersonic, and I got killed for that. And then the other Sonic memory, which is into the game, we used to watch the cartoon a lot. And it's funny that we're talking about this because I had a moment the other day. We used to watch the cartoon a lot, and we found out, you and I, that this random ass restaurant in the middle of fucking nowhere, it was
which is still there
on the highway,
which is still there,
sold chili dogs.
Yep.
And that's the first time you and I ever ate a chili dog.
And we did.
We were so gassed that we were going to eat chili dogs like Sonic. Fast forward to literally, I think it was fucking Friday. No, actually, I think it was Monday. I think it was yesterday. I was doing some DoorDash, and it took me to a place that apparently sells hot dogs. And they have a fucking chili dog. I was like, dude, I gotta get one of these. I was like, dude, I gotta get a fucking chili dog. And they weren't that bad. They were $5.
Nice.
So I was like, oh, I know. I was like,
for a
I
chili
can have
dog?
a Sonic. I literally said to myself, dude, I can have a Sonic chili dog. And it reminded me of that same story I literally just told. So those are my two biggest Sonic memories. One a little unfortunate, and the other one delicious.
He said a little unfortunate.
It was all right.
His infant sister falling down a flight of steps. It was cushioned somewhat.
Yeah, it saved her life, whatever.
I love how the artist for Sonic goes, we know that Mario gets coins, so we wanted something similar for
Americans
Sonic, and Americans love donuts, so we settled on the rings. He's like, Americans are such fat pieces of shit. We know that they'll be totally into it if we make the money look like food. So yeah, that was a nice little jump. And Nintendo, of course, is not going to sit by and just let this bullshit happen. So they went ahead and created the Super NES. So it was the Super NES against the Sega Genesis. That was the war we all came to love, except for the fact that Mario still seemingly dominated. We already mentioned the Japan.
We always had the Nintendo. I don't remember owning a Sega.
We did.
I don't. Okay, but I don't remember it.
Yeah.
However, for some reason, I do remember that every time we went to visit someone that had kids there, they had a Sega.
Yep.
I don't know why. Some of them had both, but they usually either had a Sega or both. But I don't remember having a Sega.
We did.
But I know we always had Super Nintendo stuff.
Yep.
And here's the reason why. Because even our own mother, who is not a gamer, and if anything, I've made her loathe video games, still, one of my earliest memories of video games is my mom sitting down playing Super Mario Brothers.
No.
And because she will say to this day, her favorite video game is Super Mario.
Yep.
And that's someone who fucking hates video games. She gave them to me because she knew it was my thing, but boy, did she wish it was fucking something else. she hated fucking video games. But even she played Super Mario, dude. So,
yeah. There you go. I can't believe that you have no memory of owning a Sega. We played so
I don't-
many of the games.
I
NBA
remember
Jam.
playing.
We played.
I thought that was on regular. No, not regular. We played NBA Jam on Super Nintendo.
No, we had it on the Sega. Just like we had the first Madden we ever had was on the Sega too. Madden '92.
Get the fuck out of here! No way. I don't remember.
Yeah,
that.
it was the black cartridge with the yellow tag thing on it. That was
Nope.
Sega.
I remember those. I have those images in my head, but they're not at our house.
They are. Yes, they are in our house. Absolutely.
It's crazy.
We had
there you
NBA
go.
Jam.
Right here
the
first,
Ghost-
boys. I am losing memories.
Video game memories, no less.
No, that's when you know you're fucking.
And we had the Sonics, obviously, of course, because even
I'll tell you what. The day I ask you about something wrestling and your words to me I don't remember, it's over.
Yeah, it's done.
Nothing but downhill from
It's
there.
fucking done. Done. If I can't explain in great detail why it was such a bullshit decision to have Scotty 2 Hotty defeat Christian for the light heavyweight title, excuse me, Dean Malenka. See, it's already happening. But yes, if that ever happens, it's a done deal. Hospice. That's what's next for me. Tom mentioned about looking forward to maybe switching over to optical discs, using Sony as a manufacturer company for that. And of course, you already stated that the boss was no good with that. He didn't want. It was the aspect of not wanting to help Sony. That was the interest in that. It was a dumb move. Everyone knows it. And it spelled the end, because after that, they came out with the Sega 32X. You think they doubled it. They didn't even go to the next 8. It was 816. They didn't go to 24. They said, no. Double. We need another. We have 16? Go ahead and bring me another fresh 16 right here. 32X.
Yeah.
And
I think they ended up just falling into the line of making games and not so much like they got out of the console where they just used their, what do you call those? They use their
resources?
Not resource, not the word I'm looking for, but like Super Mario is
branding?
Yeah, we'll go with that. They use their branding and their original characters to make games, not necessarily push systems anymore.
Yeah. How could you fail with titles like Echo the Dolphin? You know what I'm saying? But
Bro, Sonic had some bangers though, man.
Sonic, yeah. They came out with the Sega Saturn.
Sega Saturn was big too. I remember that.
It was good, but as the lady put it, the death nail was that it didn't have any Sonic games. Which, how the fuck does that happen? That's weird. And then, of course, the Dreamcast was its last attempt. I felt like the Dreamcast was getting over. I knew a lot of people that had Dreamcasts.
I would love to see a documentary on the Dreamcast because I feel like the Dreamcast was not ahead of its time. It was probably ahead of its time. It did what Nintendo just does really well. And if I don't know, I've never owned a Dreamcast. I only knew a very few people with a Dreamcast, and I don't even kind of remember the games that I played on them, but I do remember going, dude, I need to fucking get one of these. Things are awesome. Like, they were so good, and I just want to know why it failed so hard. Something happened, I know, but I just don't know what it is. But it was a really good system, I thought, that just got no traction, man. No fucking traction.
Was it the fact that it got no traction, or were they already so far into the hole at that point it wouldn't have mattered?
I really feel like their innovation on Dreamcast was just too early, if I remember correctly, but I don't know.
Oh, you're
I remember
accusing
playing
them-
fishing on Dreamcast. Fucking throw out the thingy, you click it, it's like click, 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 like fucking reeling up a fish, dude. I remember that. That was sick. The first time I ever did that, I'm like, dude, I gotta get this.
So they ended it by letting everyone know that the legacy of the property still exists. Obviously, we have video games with Sonic and Mario in the same game now, so we're in a completely different world now.
Yeah.
So my son doesn't even know a world where there's a console war. So it is what it is. So our next topic is the last episode, the finale here of Game Changers. It took us to the world of Warcraft. And now you said it was kind of putting you to sleep. I'm going to go ahead and co-sign most of that.
Well, see, no, that's what I mean, where it was weird because they said we're going to go to the world of Warcraft, but it was Minecraft.
Yeah, that's why it was out of order. Something just didn't. Somebody uploaded this weirdly on the streaming site. But it is what it is. We already saw the World of Warcraft day, had our fun with that. This one was about Minecraft. And the reason why I was kind of curious, because I know that Minecraft is successful. I know it's made a bunch of money. But maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. Who had the bigger society impact, WoW or Minecraft? Amongst the gamer community, like, who had the bigger impact?
I would say it's generational.
Fair,
I don't know the numbers.
Okay.
But if I'm just going off of the word impact, I feel like they did the same thing in two different generations. Two generation of children and video games and teenagers. I think they did the same thing, but to do two different generations of people. Yeah. If I would give Minecraft that fucking head nod.
So this game was created by surprise, folks. This game was created by an asshole. Hold on.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead. I don't know. Go ahead. I'm gonna hear you out.
Marcus Persons, otherwise known as Notch. He pulled another one of those. Ooh, I like that. Mine. Another one of those situations happening here.
Sure, but at this point in Game Changers, I'm numb to that.
Fair enough.
I see what you're saying, and I can understand how that may or may not.
I don't think there's term limits on stealing people's shit. I mean, you stole
I'm sorry,
an
what?
idea. I don't think there's term limits. I don't think there's an expiration date on fucking with people's shit. I just
no. There is. It's called a fucking patent, and if you don't have one, your shit's getting yoinked.
No,
it's the
that's
Wild West,
the way
baby.
of the world. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying that this guy did anything illegal. What I'm saying is,
I don't think
that
he
it
did anything wrong.
Well, okay. I mean, that's fine.
And
I think the person who invented the other game feels differently.
And that's my point. At this point, I'm just saying.
His own partner actually thinks he did something wrong.
I'm fucking numb. That guy was a pussy. He didn't going early, and he needed to get the fuck out of the way.
He didn't have what it took to make it in the business world.
Fucking nuts. You know what? What's his name again? Notch is a fucking visionary. He sat there.
The other partner is Ralph Youngson.
Yeah, Notch said, "Look at this. Look at here, you little bitch. This is going nowhere. So what we need to do is release this shit, get as much fucking data out of this as we can, and move on to the next thing." Oh no, it's not done. Hey, he walked up to him in the conference room, put his finger on his fucking forehead. Said, fucking idiot.
Notch knew. Notch knew
That's
as
why,
soon as he dominated him in Magic the Gathering, I could dominate him in life.
Yeah. He probably like, look, I'll tell you what, let's play a game of Magic.
Yeah, let's just get some decks together, bro.
Like, that's the vibe that I got from the other guys. Like, he was a pushover. Like, oh, I didn't think it was ready, but like, he wanted to, so like, we did. And then he has this look on his face, like, I knew he was bitter for some reason. I just didn't fucking understand why. And as they start talking about it more, right? Yeah. The guy's so bitter and a pussy and a pushover. The homie was like, all right, I'm done here. And I want the fucking, like...
He took the whole company with him.
I want the game, too.
Yeah.
I want the game. And the guy was like, no, all right, fine. You can have it. He's like, give me my shit, man. You being a bitch. So he went over there. Made a huge game without someone fucking shackling him and holding him down, right? Then he makes his money, and now this is where he kind of becomes a little bit of a pussy.
Oh, here we go. Yep, I was waiting for it. Go ahead.
He kind of got a little...
Here's the swerve.
As we in the gaming / more specifically the League of Legends community, we like to say he got fully tilted. I mean, this motherfucker was sideways. To the point where he went online and was like, yo, who want this shit? Yeah. I'm done.
Yeah. He started to cry. Oh,
my man's, the whole company is having fun shooting fucking Nerf guns at each other. Yeah. Everyone's having a blast, right? High-fiving and shit. And they're like, yeah, we're making so much money. This guy fucking gets a phone. I don't know his name. He gets a fucking phone call like, we're selling. Right?
Yeah.
And he starts fucking crying like, dude, I need a minute.
Oh, my God. when he started getting emotional and he was like, "Can we take a break?" I'm like, "A break for what? They didn't say anything."
No, I love it. No, but I love it. You know why? Because it just shows how much he was fucking crushed, dude. He was so crushed that years after that fucking happened, he still couldn't.
Yeah, he's the CEO of his own company, and it still makes him cry to hear
It's
that
like
they
his
sucked
Mima
together.
died, dude. Fucking me, he can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Can't talk about it. But that's how, dude. I'm sorry. No notch slander will be fucking taken here. Okay, that dude was a visionary. There were people in his fucking way.
Yeah, he got fucked up over social media comments.
Yeah, but hold on, time out though. This is early social media though.
I don't give a fuck. I was there before the fucking social media started, and that you are still 10-ply, my guy. Super soft.
But you're like a seasoned. You're a seasoned dickhead, right? Like things don't bother you. Like you came out a douche. Like you flipped your doctor off when you were born. Like you were made to have thick skin. Most people ain't like you at all. So for early social media, that shit was tough for a lot of people.
The thing is, though, is that when you're a multi-million-dollar company, bro, you gotta be like that. Come on. You're changing the game.
Okay, but you're being unfair. Homie hit the home run early.
Uh-huh.
He made one game that was a bust. He took it and flipped it into something else. And next thing you know, just like WoW, overnight, he fucking exploded. They were not expecting it to be as huge as it was. They were just trying to release a good game, and all of a sudden, it's a fucking cult classic. All of a sudden, it's the most popular game in the world. It's like, you're being overexposed. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it a bean. It's the number one thing that stops me from trying to do like my own YouTube thing. Is I'm weird in a sense where I'm afraid of success because I know kind of what's on the other end of it, and
right.
It's not that I don't think I can handle it. It's I don't want to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like so the thought of him, like that's a fear of mine.
Right.
Like I just start posting shit, and next thing you know, within like 3-4 months, 6 months, I have 1 million followers, and there's like people expecting me to post, and then there's people countering my thoughts, and it's just like, not that I don't think it would break me. I have thick skin, but I'm more like, like
yeah.
I'm stuck here now. You know what I mean? Because it's like I can't turn away from it because I enjoy it, but I don't want to deal with the negative shit. Some of these people don't expect that, and it happens so fast. Now they're in it, and they're just not built to deal with it, dude. Especially in the early days, dude. Especially in the early days. But he had a gummy bean wall, so he was fine.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's got like the $70 million home. He bought a home away from Jay-Z and Beyonce, and he's gonna let
He got $1 billion off the sale, didn't he?
2.5.
2.5 billion. He's got a jelly bean wall.
Yeah,
he's good.
Yeah, he $2.5 billion, and he's gonna let some douchebag on Twitter in Oklahoma City who's going to go work at his local Baskin Robbins to fuck with his head. Jesus Christ!
No, your timeline's fucked up. It's because of that douchebag that he has 2 point whatever billion.
Good. So the next time the fucker complains about bugs and slow speeds, fucking just send him a gift of you flicking money at the camera. What the fuck?
That's it, baby. Nice out with your balls out.
What are we talking about? Yeah, thank you for your contribution, brother. We got people working on it.
And that other guy is sad because he probably gets paid $100,000 a year.
That guy, first of all, the guy who was sad took a job that wasn't even in his field. He applied for the job that was in his
Not
field.
Not him, the first guy. The one that got bullied.
Oh, gee. Yeah. They all got bullied.
I let him have it. Well, they're pussies, pushovers. What do you want me? What do you want him to do? It's not his fault. He's a fucking alpha, dude.
Law of the jungles.
That's it. Especially, like I said, especially in those times, if you have a type A alpha personality, and you know what the fuck you're doing back in that day, you ate.
Yeah,
you ate. You were Scar with a bunch of hyenas.
That was the reason why a lot of these laws got made in the first place, to protect the weak.
Oh, because there's so many weak, dude.
Yeah,
they just wanted to play video games, eat Hot Pockets, and fucking jerk off to porn and make video games, dude. That's all they want. And they just needed an overlord
Yeah.
to like navigate that for them.
And
That's all
here
I needed.
came Notch.
And
Just
yup,
looking
and here
for it.
comes Minecraft.
Yeah.
And here comes World of Warcraft. And here comes Halo. And here, like, all of those big time fucking games, World of War, like all those big time games that people revere from back in the day, all pretty much was you had 1 to 4 guys who were like the overlords, and then everyone else just fucking sleeping in front of their computer, grinding, living their best fucking 16 through 28s. Damn.
So I wrote a couple of bullet points here.
I missed out.
This is the first time I've heard the phrase a sandbox game. Now, he explained it, and I understood the explanation, but it was just my first time hearing that. A sandbox game. I was like, oh, all right. And we talked about the bugs and the issues. This is one of the first games that we heard about during this whole franchise where they had the conversations direct with customers, right? So in the past, whenever a game was being judged on its success, it was usually by the numbers. Sales, markets, possibly a few complaints if you had a help desk number or something like that. This is the era now here where you drop a game and it's almost instant feedback, right? I mean, it's direct too. So it's like people tagging you, it's hashtagging you. You have a direct line to both the positive and the negative of what's being out with your game. We're making jokes about Notch. Well, I'm making a joke about Notch being a bitch online. You're defending him. But this is actually a very interesting conversation because this is a really recent problem. Not just Minecraft, but across the board. And not just video games. This is across all genres of entertainment when you really think about it. It's the conversation of consumer and creator. How we no longer really live in a world of just consumer and creator. We now live in a world where almost everybody is a creator, just with the access to everything that we have access to. So now you have a bunch of people who should be in the role of consumer, but it can't help themselves but to give the criticism of a creator. So someone who drops a game, here's the game, boom, enjoy, have a good time, and all of a sudden here comes, well, I wouldn't have done that with the game, we should really be focusing more on this, and it should have had more of that, and all of a sudden they're talking like game developers. Like if they were the ones with the funding, they could have done a better fucking game. And it's all facets now, We're in a world now where people watch movie trailers and go, oof, the CGI on this is the shits. Or we'll watch them, wow, that storyline didn't make any sense. That's not really going to captivate an audience. We're now having debates online in wrestling of people going over ratings. Ratings! That's never been a conversation in fucking wrestling before. But now everyone is the creator, not the content. Everyone creates content. Nobody's really the consumer anymore. So this was like you said about the social media thing. This is kind of the beginning stages of that instant feedback where it's happening, where it's like, okay, here's the release of the game, and like the day of its release, here comes the positive, here comes the negative, here comes, and this is another thing
before
here.
It at this point.
I wanted to ask you about this because I spoke to Alex about this, my son, and he was opening up my eyes to a lot of different shit too when they were talking about the Minecraft modders. Right? So when they were talking about people taking the games that were being released and then almost essentially ripping those games apart and then rebuilding them to their own liking, like just coming up with all these different variations of how you can do this and reprogramming this. And this is another thing about, because gamers back in the day, they were just really good at playing games. You didn't hear too many people opening up the cartridge, taking this out, and this doesn't happen. Gamers today can do it all. They're not just playing the game. They're programming. They're changing code. They're moving things around. You're getting actual physical, tangible games that are being customized to their liking. Like, this is unheard. This is the new wave here, the new version of video gaming where they're taking things apart. Is this section right here, the fact that so many people are customizing, so many people are taking games apart, is this what is leading to what I've been hearing about now about these consoles and these labels trying not to give full ownership of games to people? Like when you purchase online now, you purchase a game online, they're like, well, you paid for it, but it's not yours per se. Like, is this what the gaming companies now are doing to protect themselves?
Oh, no. They have nothing to do with each other.
Okay, good. All right.
No. It's nothing to do. If anything, making it digital makes it easier to mod. Not whether their intent is to make it open source or not is a different story. But when the whole game is packaged via files, they can be modded and dealt. That's why you have hacking and cheating, even on online games, Call of Duty, aimbots, all that stuff is I feel are much easier today because of the digital era, not so much to protect themselves from it. No.
They talked about Minecraft for pretty much the majority of the episode, and then they brought up what they perceived to be a potential threat, which was Roblox. Now, I have very limited experience with Minecraft. I don't play myself, but my son in his youth was quite the player. So when they described two of the game modes, I was able to remember. The survival mode, where you can play Minecraft like you would a regular video game. There's achievements to have, there's challenges, there's things you have to accomplish, there's mission-based activity taking place. And then there's creative mode, where you just have access to all the resources and you can literally just build to whatever your heart's content. My son was huge on creative mode. I don't know how many days we wasted sitting in this house and just meticulously making like hotels, and like we would make my wife made a restaurant one time. We dug a hole in the ground. We made like an underground apartment type situation. We've had a lot of fun with the creative mode, to be honest with you. But in their explanation on the show, they said the reason why Roblox felt like a threat is because while Minecraft is an open world and you're able to create within that world, Roblox was giving users an opportunity to create the world itself. They were making their own games. And you can go through it, customize it, you can make whatever game you want to make and however you want to make it, create that world, and then it becomes accessible to the rest of the Roblox world. There are people who don't even know you, who can go through a search engine, find your shit, and play your game. And that's like a very attractive feature. And I think back on all the stuff that we did with Alex with Roblox, because he also plays Roblox. He still plays with his friends to this day. The new thing now, obviously, Dandy's World. You saw the theme for his birthday this past month, Dandy's World. He's got all three of us playing it. He's playing it with his friends. I watched his best friend the other day in that game. This stuff all carries over. And then they introduced Fortnite later in the episode, which I understood that inclusion as well. But I bring all this up as a conclusion to the episode as it relates to the topic of crossplay. This was a big conversation in this episode on crossplay. So the rant that I was telling you about, it's not going to be a full-on rant, but I just wanted to make a point about something. How they're going through the whole explanation about, first of all, what crossplay is, and that they were being told that it couldn't be done, and then it became it can be, but we don't really want to, and it became this whole conversation. But I got this vibe from a lot of the people who were the talking heads in this episode, when they were talking about crossplay, that it was almost idiotic to them. Where they were just like, well, I mean, if we've got the technology to do it, why wouldn't we do it? That just seemed so nonsensical to them. Maybe I'm old. Maybe in age I have slid more into the Republican side of things. But it seemed like a no-brainer to me. Why the fuck would I do that? That didn't make any fucking sense to do it the other way. As a gamer, pure gamer, just a player and a lover of video games and a lover of all things fun, I could see the want to be able to access users and players from different consoles and different advantage points. An Apple user going against an Xbox user, a PlayStation guy competing against a Nintendo guy within the same platform. Like, for instance, Fortnite. You know, you have the opportunity, you're playing the same game, the units and the consoles and the way you're accessing the game amongst the gamers, it shouldn't matter how you're accessing the game. We should all have access to one another. But when they were explaining how the companies were reacting to the ideology of crossplay, I was like, yes, obviously that makes sense. Why the fuck would I want to do that? Am I wrong? Am I an idiot for this? I'm just like, that made perfect sense to me. I don't want to split possible funds with possible competitors. That doesn't make any sense to me. If we're going to share the same pot, okay, to some degree I get it, but obviously if you crossplay, it's not going to be even across the board. There are going to be more PC players or more Xbox players or more PlayStation players on a given time period. There's going to be one console that does more work than the others, but you're talking about everyone getting a cut. How does that get deliberated? How does that happen? Who monitors that? Who's taking account of where these users are coming? There's so many factors. And at the end of it, it just sounds like everyone is losing something. So I was like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. And then by the end of the episode, they had an accidental settings issue. And all of a sudden now it's possible and everyone's seen it. And now it's like, all right, well, we can do it. We should just do it. And Minecraft was one of the first cross-play games that they allowed to do that with. But
Wrong.
so who was the first?
You ready? Because I'm about to go fucking this. All right. You
Okay.
watched me in a very large portion of my life playing a very particular game.
Oh, yeah.
And that game was Final Fantasy 11.
Right.
All right. So here's what I'm going to tell you. World of Warcraft launched in November 23, 2004.
Right. Okay.
Final Fantasy 11 launched in Japan on May 16th, 2002.
Mm-hmm.
2 years before WoW.
Okay.
Release it. Oh, did it release the same time? Didn't know that it released the same time in Japan. I don't know if this is exactly right, but it's telling me.
But it's before WoW. We know that.
No, hold on. Final Fantasy 11 was released for PlayStation 2 May 16th, 2002.
Okay. Isn't that what you had it on?
In 2019, Final Fantasy. Oh no, that's it gave me 10 for some reason. Anyway, shortly after that, there was a few. I don't know why it's giving me Final Fantasy 10. That's annoying. Anyway, years after that, I'd say maybe give or take 5-6 years ish, give or take, something like that. It was also released on Xbox 360. All of which communicated with each other. So if this is true and Final Fantasy 11 came out, it was released in Japan on May 16th, 2002 for PlayStation 2 and Microsoft Windows-based personal computers, and it was cross-platform. So if you played
in 2016?
Yes. No, 2002.
Oh, in 2002. Okay.
In 2002, 2 years before World of Warcraft was created, this game already had crossplay.
Why do you keep comparing it to World of Warcraft? World of Warcraft didn't have crossplay in 04.
Yeah, I know. Here's why.
Okay.
Because when you talk MMOs, we watched this whole thing. Did it say anything about Final Fantasy at all? Not even 11.
I know.
Final Fantasy at all.
I peeped that too.
I don't know what the fuck it is about gaming that they completely exclude Final Fantasy. And when it comes to online gaming, they completely exclude Final Fantasy 11. Now, Final Fantasy, what World of Warcraft did that made it so big, and they even kind of say it on here, is that the reason why World of Warcraft got big, the reason why League of Legends is for the same reason why League of Legends got so big. They took a very complicated cult classic video game, and they made it accessible. That's what they did. It's the same thing Minecraft did too. It took builders and it made it so that it's very intuitive to use. It's not difficult. You can turn your brain off, you can play, you can enjoy it. Same thing with World of Warcraft. You can play it, it makes sense, it's very easy, it's intuitive, you can play it. It's not hardcore like the EverQuest and stuff before. It's the only they made it so that more people could play, which is why it blew up. Final Fantasy XI, in my personal opinion, elevated the difficult game, right? But they did it much better, and the game was easier to play, but it still had a lot of punishing elements. World of Warcraft, when you died, you lost durability and stuff. So essentially, you lost gold because you had to like repair your gear and shit like that. But you didn't lose EXP. In Final Fantasy XI, you lost EXP, even to the point, I believe it's over level 11. I could be wrong. It could be a little higher. But anything before 11, if you died, you lost no XP. But once you hit 11, you could de-level. So that if you die too much, you will lose levels, which is obviously, it could take hours to hit 11, hit level 11, and you could potentially lose it. I don't know if those are the exact numbers, but I say that to say that they are punished in a worldview because they stuck to the difficulty of what MMOs are supposed to be. They said sandboxes and ones that are on like railroads, ones that guide you through story.
Yeah.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I did not play much of WoW Classic, so I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they had quests where it kind of took you, like there was a path. Now, you could veer off of it and do different things, but there was a path. There was a story and stuff you had to take. Final Fantasy, on the other hand, had story and had quests, but you needed none of it outside of 2 or 3 maybe breakpoints. Other than that, you never have to touch story. I went my first 6 years never finishing the story. Like, I got to rank 5, and I think once you hit rank 5, you essentially make yourself available to do all the content in the game. And man, dude, it had to have been like 7 years before I even finished the main story for the first time. Because you just don't need it. It's a sandbox. Once you open it up, you could do whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want. So when I look at things like this, it just frustrates me because I believe Final Fantasy XI is one of the greatest MMOs, especially when it comes to like that more hardcore, genuine, old school feeling MMO, but it never gets the fucking look. So when I watched it, I think this is where I started to get annoyed. When I watch these fucking baboons argue back and forth about crossplay, PlayStation and Microsoft were already doing it with PC. They weren't talking about it, but they were already doing it with Final Fantasy XI. So they're all sitting here in those moments arguing about it, and they're already doing it with 11. Like, take that under perspective. You watch the video of them talking, like the time that they're referring to, and they're all, no, we shouldn't do this, or we don't. They're telling people, oh, we don't have the capabilities, or we do now. Should we do it? Should we not? Assholes, they're already doing it. They don't want to do it because they're not arguing of the matter of doing it. They're arguing of pulling out of doing it, right? They only have one, maybe something else I don't know of, but as far as I know, they have one fully functional crossplay game in the background at that time happening, and they go, yeah, that's cool. We'll keep that in the background, which is probably why nobody fucking talks about it. And let's not say that it's possible so that going forward we can separate our games from them. We don't want all of our games going cross-platform. So when I see them have these arguments, I see it differently. They're not trying to figure it out. They're deliberately not doing it so that they can get customers on their side and not with the other company, because it is in full swing already for probably close to two years at that point of them already fucking doing it. And that's what like really annoyed me about this fucking video.
No mention at all of Final Fantasy throughout the course of
Not once!
all 8 episodes.
Not once. And you're talking about juggernauts. There's no way 11 is not a fucking juggernaut.
It wasn't. It just recently
Not 11,
nominated,
but like just Final Fantasy in itself.
It was nominated this year for Game of the Year.
Which one?
I have to get the specifics, but I could have sworn Game of the Year this year, Final Fantasy was in the running.
Yeah, it's probably one of the fucking stupid new ones that they're pushing agendas for.
But it's still part of the franchise.
Yes and no. It's not the fucking same. Like, those awards are fucking stupid. They're all to sell stuff. That's all it is. It's all it is. It's like, remember back in the day when you would like
That's all
go into
shows.
a game. Remember back in the day when you would go into a GameStop and you would see a PlayStation 1 game that said greatest hits on the side or some shit?
Yeah.
Or like number one most like I always looked at that like that's bullshit. I don't know that to be true. I've seen it nowhere. Yet you're telling me this is a great. I'm gonna play it because it looks fun, but I'm not buying it because it's a greatest hit. I feel like that's what it is now with these awards and shit. It's just like, play this. Oh, this is the number one game. It's the best selling video game, and then it's like their sales skyrocket because people want to play it now. So yeah, it's all bullshit.
Well, what a proper way to end our Game Changers run with a rant on how full of shit everybody was in the final episode. Calling them out.
I hate seeing it. Every single time I fucking hate seeing it.
There you go.
Oh, World of Warcraft. Dude, it made it easy for people to play. Real people were getting their ass smacked by rabbits for like fucking decades because they were just too goddamn strong and you didn't know how to do. You had to figure it out, dude.
Old school grind.
Old
You gotta
school
grind it.
baby. It took 16 people to even get fucking access to a relic weapon. You kidding me? It took decades for people to get them. These kids don't know how to play MMOs.
Which, by the way, is massive multiplayer online games.
There you go.
Didn't read that one. Didn't read that one. So that is the end of our run for Game Changer Wrestling. I'm going to have to go back into my bag and get creative with the remaining opening segments on the show. Good thing Mania is coming up. And, yes. So
we'll find something.
I'm sure we'll find something, yes. There's plenty to discuss. But there's one more topic here to discuss that we must hit on here because it happened this past Monday on Monday Night Raw. And it is the moment of explanation. We've been waiting to hear what it could be. We were waiting to see the reasoning. What's the why, right? We're going to tell a story here. We'll tell a story. You need a why. Before I explain exactly what went down here, and John, for the most part, was out here all by his lonesome. Cody joins toward the end. I'll discuss the Cody part. Because the Cody part was hilarious. My wife obviously does not like John Cena, but even he had a line that she couldn't resist. She was like, "Okay, that's a pretty good fucking line." Even she had to go, "All right, that's pretty good," but the rest of it sucks. Before I get into what was said,
I said, "Give me my flowers."
I said this to give you your flowers.
Yes.
Well, what did you call? What did you predict?
All of this? Wait, okay, so hold on. Let me just go on record because I've been kind of like calling some shit a lot lately. And I don't want anyone to think that I think that I'm just really smart about wrestling. I have a feeling a lot of people have these takes. I promise you they do. I'm not the only one thinking things are going to go the way that they go. But boy, did I say that what I hope he does is exactly what the fuck he did. And I am so excited to see more.
What was the prediction? I'm lost.
Come out. Remember, where do we go from here? Well, we come out and we fuck you.
Yeah.
All of you.
Yeah.
Every single one of you. I gave you the, and not only that, but he touched on exactly what we talked about during the Stone Cold thing.
Yes.
He literally called it out verbatim. Yeah. About the Stone Cold thing. Changing what he loved.
Yeah.
Let me not jump ahead. Go ahead. Go. You cook.
When I said not last week, during the Elimination Chamber review, when you had said about something that he could say, and I did a quick little mock promo about what I feel like it should sound like. I had said about leaning on the "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks," and without
deliberately said that.
within 5 fucking seconds of standing out there, it's exactly what happened. And then
he responded to it.
And he responded this time. He didn't ignore it. He went after it. So before we even get into the specifics of what he said, I wanted to point one small little detail out before we move forward, because I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine, and he couldn't wrap his head around what I was trying to explain. That's why I didn't say it on the show, because I didn't have a very eloquent way of explaining what I'm trying to say, because it's very confusing. Even my wife was like, "But why would you think that? Because it's not what happened in the ring." And I get that, but you got to look outside of what your eyes are seeing. We saw John Cena hug Cody, and The Rock give him the little throat slash, and then Cena back up just a smidge, and then kick him in the balls, and then proceed to do all the things that he was going to do. And then they stood on, John stood on Cody's face next to The Rock, next to Travis Scott. Gives you the indication that this is a partnership of some kind. They're in cahoots with one another. He has sold his soul to The Rock. I said, despite what I see, I don't think that this turn has anything to do with the fucking Rock. There might have been a conversation, there might have been some convincing, there might have been some involvement, but the ideology that he would sell his soul to The Rock specifically didn't make sense in that situation. So while, yes, they were together in that sequence, I just don't see how that ties into one another. So the reason why I say that is because, as I told you before we went on air, this entire segment was the opening segment of Raw, and it was 26 minutes. Not one fucking mention of The Rock in the entire promo. Didn't mention him once.
I don't think he sold his soul to The Rock.
No.
I think the
but
soul
there are
was
people,
Cody.
Right. But
I think he just made an agreement.
There are people who are telling me
I know.
it doesn't make sense because why would he work for The Rock? And I'm like, I don't think that he is, because why would he? The offer he put on the table for Cody, John already has. He has
he respects
all of
John.
those
He doesn't
things
respect
already.
Cody.
Right. So when it was time to do the promo, and I heard everything from A through Z. He's going to come back as the doctor of thugonomics. Or
I still think he should.
No, he should not ever again.
I think he should.
No.
I think that would be sick.
You know why he shouldn't?
Because
it'll get a pop. And that's why he's not going to do it. Because it would get a pop.
That should be why you do it.
No, he's going to get a pop, and that's why. And he explained that in the ring.
I know, but that's why and I only say that because he said it.
Yeah,
It's like, look at you, fickle fucks.
Yeah.
You know
no
what I mean?
new theme, no new look. You get nothing. That's what he says. You get nothing. And so the line that he said, well, from the beginning, he comes out, obviously, same music, no energy at all whatsoever. Pulls the towel out, doesn't throw it. It's completely flat. He lays the towel out for the cameraman to catch it. He comes in, he just grabs the mic, and it's all heat. It's all heat. Spain just...
And this moment, at this moment, if you've ever been to a live event during Cena's time, that noise did not sound foreign to you.
No.
If you've never been to an event, I think you're blown away by this.
Yeah.
Because it sounded so hot, but it was like, which is why, again, if you have been to an event, what he's saying in the ring here is fucking banana. Like, I get goosebumps because you can even see in some moments in the beginning when he's talking, it's almost like he's getting choked up. Like, you can see his mouth. You know, you get real fucking like angry, cry mad. Your lips start like shaking a little bit. That shit started happening. Like, I felt like he was really shooting in the ring at this point. Like, he was really
that
fucking
was
going
John
on.
that everybody. We heard. Yeah, that was John. That was the John that's what we heard in that ring during that promo was the John he wanted to be in 2010 or in 2009 or in 2012. That's the John he wanted to be. And we had made the joke before he turned that, boy, he would have had a good time doing it if they would have ever allowed him to do it. Now he's doing it. Now we get to the ring. He's doing the whole monotone deal. He's not showing any excitement. He's not doing his usual inflection, and he's not doing anything that would indicate anger, right? He obviously has got a chip on his shoulder, and I'm not going to go word for word and verbatim for the promo, but what I want to point out to people, because I get asked this all the time, not to pat myself on the back, but I cut a pretty mean promo, and I've been around a lot of people who can cut promos pretty well, and I always tell people all the time, your tone and what you are saying matters so much to the storytelling of what you're trying to get across, because he slowly lost his shit. He didn't come out here and just start yelling and cutting and fuck her. He explained himself, and he was getting into it. And when he revved up to the line of, and none of you sons of bitches asked how I felt, that was real. That was an emotion that came out of him. And that kind of broke the seal, because for the rest of it, now the energy's coming and now, but he built into that. And the line that got Steph was when he goes, for 25 years, I've been in an abusive relationship with y'all. Y'all have put me I was in an abusive relationship. Y'all are toxic. Y'all are selfish. Just wanted me to be puppets for you and do it all with a smile on my face.
No, dead ass. It's funny that you said that. Dead ass that he said that. The whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, I've been here. I've yelled the shit he's yelled. You know what I mean? We all have. Yeah. I'm sure you have.
Steph did. Steph screamed, I have. I said it.
Bro, all of us have done that. If you're in a real relationship for a long fucking time, especially if it depends on who that person is. But like, I see it from like the guy part where it's like, you bite your tongue for so long, and at some point, one or two things happen. Either you break up with her and you crash out, or you're gonna be together forever. It don't matter how hard you crash out. I mean, a little underlining tone there, but like when you crash out to her and you like start fucking yelling like, "Oh, you never appreciate shit," like that's what it sounded like to me. Like he was just in the ring yelling at his girl. Like, yo, get off! Like you never appreciated me. I would bust my ass. I worked 15 hours a day on weekends too.
Yeah.
I come home. You get to stay at home. I provided for you, and you don't appreciate. Like that's what I was getting.
So a lot of the people he was getting so much off of his chest that I feel like a lot of people lost the point, which was the overall reason, which was why I'm glad Cody came out.
Because I hated that Cody came out.
Because in all essence,
he ruined this for me.
No, I liked it, because in all actuality, I think Cena made the point when he came out. I mean, not when he came out. Cody's cue for coming out was when John mentioned his name, and the reason why John mentioned his name is because that was his point of the turn. That part. All the other stuff he said was just frustration he was trying to get out. It all plays to a symphony, but his overall larger point was that after everything that he had done and everything that he had given, and he did the line with "I take and what can I get? What are we gonna get? What are we gonna get?" And everyone takes and everyone takes and nobody gives. His overall point is that despite the fact that he was pissed about always giving and never receiving, believe it or not, that's not why he's angry. He did that with a smile on his face. He gave in spite of the fact that he felt like he never received. What hurt him was that when he came back for the farewell tour and thought maybe this is the run where we're all finally on the same page, they still chose Cody. There was a new, shiny toy that they wanted to play with, and they were done with the old toy. And that's the part that he is framing as his purpose for attacking Cody, because I'm supposed to be the guy that gives everything to the people, and they accept me for my efforts. Now my efforts go drifting off into the silent good night because I'm not the new golden boy. I'm not the shiny toy anymore. It's him now. So now, since the Cena sucks people this is what he said, the Cena sucks people, at least I can say that they've been honest because they've been letting me hear it for all these years. It's you let's go Cena people that make me sick. because y'all just sit there and you wear my merch. And he goes, you dress like me. I don't dress like you idiots. Why would I change what I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? You copying me. And I do all this. I do the Make-A-Wishes. I do that. I give you everything that I can, no matter what. It is not enough. In his eyes, I gave you more than any other WWE superstar in fucking history. Because let's be honest, no one in the history of this company had as long of a run as he did. He ran the longest and the hardest. That's why they call him the GOAT.
As the most obedient. Too.
Fair, but he did it. That's the
point.
No.
I'm not. It's not a counterpoint. I'm adding.
He did it.
The most obedient. He did not get to become the American badass. He did not get to become heel Roman. He didn't get to flip flop like The Rock and Stone Cold did.
He had to
stayed true.
Job. Yes, exactly. And now now it's time for me to cash that in. Now it's time for my respect. Now it's time for my flowers, and you have none for me. All of your flowers are for him.
Yeah.
So now you have my purpose. He didn't attack Roman. He didn't attack Punk. He didn't attack Rollins. He attacked Cody. Very specifically Cody, which is perfect because that's all we need for now. We're building towards WrestleMania. And I'm sure WrestleMania won't be the last time these two face. They'll probably do a WrestleMania rematch at Backlash.
They're going to because Cody's going to need his belt back.
Well, hot take. Save that one.
No hot take. It's so fucking obvious.
Save that one for the podcast.
Sell his soul. Rock is going to. It's very, very. Again, like I said before we started this conversation, I'm not that smart, guys. I really am not getting lucky.
Uh-oh.
The writing is on the wall here. It's very easy to see it. The point is that I like it this way. Like if we are gonna get the idea of we're giving Cena the accolade
of the 17th world title.
If we're gonna give him the accolade, it's like what to do and what not to do is playing out right in front of our fucking face. Watch what's happening to Cena, thumbs up. Like, it's obvious to me what they're going to do. They're going to give him the accolade because I think he deserves it. This is the way to do it because this is bigger than the accolade. Like, it disguises the accolade to where we're having a moment now. Like, I'm the accolade is going to happen, but it's like I'm more bought into like, yo, fuck Cena for this. Like, he's real. I can't believe he did that to my kid. Like, my kid loved him. He's, you know what I mean? Like, we're here with that. And then you see, fuck, why was I going to say Scarlet? The fuck? Dude, I hate the...
Charlotte?
Huh?
Charlotte?
Thank you. I don't know why Scarlet was up. You see her and it's like, okay, wait a minute. Charlotte Flair, you're like, whoa, like, this is too obvious what's happening here. Like, if she doesn't walk out of Mania with the belt, it's disgustingly obvious, and there's nothing really kind of what's going on right now that's making me like forget the fact that it's happening, and I'm like bought into the story. So these are like two different ways of like these legends kind of coming in, getting their WrestleMania moment, and like it being kind of obvious like the way that it's gonna go, but like the Cena way is like, all right, yeah, but fuck all that. Like the story is so much bigger than what's happening. I can let go of the fact that it feels like we're giving him the accolade because he deserves it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. You're saying that it's an obvious thing. I don't know if it's so obvious, but I see your point. I understand that.
Right. On paper it is.
Yeah. So,
they've been surprising me a lot. So I'm expecting it. I'm expecting the unexpected, but if I were to have to make a choice, like this is what I think is going on.
So the ending of the promo comes with Cody Rhodes confronting him and basically just chewing his ass out. John just sits there and eats it. And it's just more of the whole, he's been doing this for the last few weeks, but now he's doing it with John standing in front of him. And he just hits him with, who is this guy? This guy in front of me. Like, I was looking forward to facing John Cena for the title at WrestleMania, and now I'm getting this guy. Like just completely downplaying the heel deal. And the fact that John ate it led me to believe it looks like Cody's going to be bleeding again very, very soon, because that seems to be Cody's default setting. Whenever we get close to a really big show, it's time to use some color. And the look in John's face, it's just like, oh wow, you're gonna just say that to my face and walk off? Okay, bitch. All right, we'll see how this goes. So John finally gives us a reason, but we are far from the end of this. We still have it's March 18th we're recording now. We got like 4 fucking weeks before Mania. We've got time to build. And we're going to be on the road. Can I just say, for the record, we're in international territory again. And like I said at the beginning of this, I was editing YouTube videos. I remember what we said about the French fans. And I remember what you said about the Puerto Rican fans. And, I've had my differences with audiences. And the crowd in Spain were loud the whole show. And I didn't feel like they hijacked it. The Cody thing, when they were doing that little chant for Cody, that was one thing. But I think it fit because the guys let it breathe. Other than that, they really didn't hijack the show a whole lot. But they were loud for everything. I could take that. I like that. Wanted to give them some props. Just go ahead and just be true fans of the product. You understand what I'm saying? True fans. Believe it or not, the Cena promo was the only part of Raw that I saw. I still didn't see the rest of fucking Raw. My wife,
I gotta watch.
My wife wants to watch it, but I still haven't seen it. So, good start from me anyway. I enjoy the fact that he got a chance to do all that, but we got to build. I doubt very seriously if he remains heel leading up, say like even to the summer, that we don't get a new look with a new theme at some point. I think it would be a giant waste because, like I said when he turned, if we've been waiting 20-something years for a turn, he finally turned, and you're telling me it's going to be over in December? I'm only going to get a chance to have this for 9 or 10 months? That's insanity. And if it is, you got to give us a new look at some point just to solidify the whole deal, man. So, don't do anything from the past. I know these people are very nostalgic. A lot of fans are nostalgic. Somebody was like, he needs to use Bad Man, that track from his album from years ago as a theme. And I'm like, now we're hearing rumors that he's not even going to sing his own theme, that Travis Scott is making him a theme. So I don't know what's going on with any of that. But something new, something fresh would be cool. What a way to go out. And we'll see. We'll see how it builds. We'll see how we go. So that's Cena's promo on Raw, which leaves my boy. So you sticking around, or what you want to do?
No, we talked about this at the beginning.
Okay, all right. I'm just double checking, checking. So so I already explained it at the beginning of the episode here. A buddy of mine got call it an injury. I don't know. He had a heart situation. It has to be that. There's no other way to collapse and the whole shebang. It's just how biology works. He didn't have a vascular issue, that's for sure. I would have heard if it was a respiratory issue, but even still, respiratory issues are different. For him to have passed as quickly as he did, had to be the heart. But, again, I'm not prognosticating. I'm not trying to play devil's advocate. I'm not sure. But he was a big boy, which is part of the conversation. It can't be ignored. I'm not going to be one of those head in the clouds kind of guy. He was clearly a taller man, 6'4", 6'3", something like that. But he was a 450-pound fucking man. And he was a big boy. And he moved around. Called himself the Jurassic Juggernaut, which led to some great memes since his passing. A lot of people, including some Jurassic Park memery in there, which is funny. That was one of his favorite movies. He's doing this thing as the Jurassic Juggernaut. He was a big boy and hell of a guy, just a hell of a fucking guy. The last time I saw him was one of my last matches, CCW. In November. He was out to support the show, out to support the program, and we talked a little bit there. He actually wanted me to come help him with some video work, He knows how I get down, some of the videos and promo videos and stuff like that. Also wanted me to come down, help with some students as far as promos go. That was a conversation that we had, and it's one of those things, man. You hear it all the time. You shake a man's hand, you dap him up, man. Good to see you, blah 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 blah, and you walk away, and you're not even aware that's the last time you're gonna fucking see the guy. You know, it's one of the things. I think it was a George Carlin joke one time. You guys out there know I love me some George Carlin, but he was saying, the older you get, it starts to become more commonplace to lose the people that you once knew, and it's becoming more and more true for me as the age gets up there. This is another one down, and he was, it's funny because I'm 42. He was 39. 39, and he had that issue, and I'm not sure if it was a pre-existing. I don't know the man's medical history, but he was a good dude, man, and he was a really good friend for me and for my friends in the business. He always looked out. He had gotten a few opportunities for people. He was trying to hook us when I was managing the Blood Brothers, when I was managing Max Mercy and Rays. He was trying to get us to come down with him to Florida and do some stuff with him there. So, a lot of opportunities given out. He was always looking out for people. Always looking out for people. He was a good dude. It sucks to have this conversation. I've done these episodes before where we've had to say goodbye to a guy far, far, far too soon. And it's unfortunate. He was the father of 3 children. He had 3 kids that loved him dearly, and we're gonna find out what's going on with that very soon. I haven't had a chance to meet with the family yet. There is a GoFundMe that is being shared around. I saw that earlier today. It's my first time seeing it. I shared it out, but I haven't had a chance to really look into that and see what's going on with that. So I wouldn't share it if it wasn't coming from the right people. I know the people that are putting it together, so it's legit. If there's anybody out there that can help out, pitch in just a little bit, I'll have the link attached to the episode, and you guys can take a look at that. Two major points that I would like to make about his passing and what it means to so many people. The first point I want to make is there are a few people, one in particular that I know of, but I've been hearing stuff from other people, who were using this situation as an opportunity to try to make some jokes, try to stir up some shit for attention, and try to turn this into a situation where, all the eyes would be on them as opposed to Vince. I said my piece on social media about that because a lot of people were getting riled up. And he was riling them up. And I had to come in and try to be the voice of reason and don't let people fucking deter you from that shit. You know what you're on social media to talk about. You know who you're trying to pay your respects to. Motherfuckers on the internet always got some shit to say. I know Dave said earlier that I'm this thick-skinned douchebag who doesn't care what other people say. It's 100% true. I don't. Positive or negative. I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say. But I know, as also Dave said earlier, that it's not easy for a lot of people to tune shit out. If it's a personal thing, if it's a habit, if it's something that rails into the insecurity, that's fine. But I beg people to find the strength when it comes to the passing of an individual. On this one occasion, turn it the fuck off, okay? Don't pay these motherfuckers any mind, all right? This is not a time for people to be making jokes and having fun at the expense of someone who just fucking died. In front of people, no less. Luckily, not family and friends, but it was still in front of fucking people who had to experience this shit happen live in a moment of panic. And so that was the first point I wanted to bring up. Don't give these fucking people the time of day with that shit. The second thing that I want to bring up, and I'll bring this show to a close. We're not going to do this the whole night. I don't think I have it in me to do it the whole fucking night. And if Vince was here, he'd tell me to shut the fuck up about it already. But there is one more point that I want to bring to the table, and it's a heartfelt plea to my brothers and sisters of the ring, the professional wrestlers of the world. I think it's moments like this. Excuse me. I think there's moments like this that, yes, we want to pay our respects to our fallen brother. Yes, we want to pay our respects to a loving man like Vince. But at the same time, I would like to take this opportunity to have some of us do a little self-reflection and really understand exactly what we're doing. Professional wrestling is dangerous. And I know that people have said it before. I know that everybody involved has heard it a bunch of times. But this really is dangerous. He's not the first person to pass away in the ring. He's not the first person to be injured permanently in the ring. I think sometimes it's taken for granted how dangerous this shit really is. And it's not something that, like, you know, taking a bump off the Hell in a Cell or going through a table or something like that. I got a buddy of mine, Whiplash. He's been on the show before, and he's a good friend of mine. He shattered his entire leg from his knee to his ankle. That hole, the femur, the tibia, all that stuff got shattered from a baseball slide. That's just sliding to the outside. His foot caught and gripped and snapped all that shit. He has a metal leg, essentially. He's been rebuilt like the Bionic Man. That motherfucker feels rust in the rain. You know what I'm saying? Like, I myself personally am still. I've got the 2 concussions on my resume. I've got the slip disc in my back, vertebrae damage. I've got the dislocated elbow, partial color blindness in my left eye from a fucking chair shot that some asshole didn't tell me about, Vic. And that's just, and that's nothing compared to some of the other stuff that we have on some of the people that I know personally. Every wrestler does that, especially when they're on the road. They start the comparisons with the injuries. Oh, I snapped this back in 2014 in this match. That happens all the time. But that's part of the conversation I kind of wanted to have. Because I think sometimes we take for granted how dangerous this shit really is. And how close we could all really be to that next big accident or that next tragedy that happens. And so I'm not saying it to discourage anyone from wrestling. Please follow your dreams. I'm just simply making the call to everyone involved to just be safe about it. This is a business, but at the same time, like, this is your livelihood. Take care of yourself and take care of your body. I'm not asking you to get on the juice and walk away with 6-pack abs. I'm just saying, for the people who it's like pulling teeth to go to training and to build up your cardio and to build up your muscle endurance and to stay in some sort of shape. I'm working on it myself. I'm not as consistent as I would like to be, but I'm in the gym. I'm going back to the gym this Thursday. I'm in the gym. I'm running the ropes. I'm doing the rolls. I'm taking the bumps, the practice bumps, flip bumps, back bumps, rolls, all that stuff, just to build something, some sort of foundation. The level of success is determined by how much of that you do. But if you're only really looking to just stay a part of the game and just be in there, be safe. Take the time. Treat your body right. Lay off the fucking drugs. Lay off the weed. Lay off the drinking before shows and shit like that. Take care of yourself. You don't want to have a stroke. You don't want to have an heart attack. Chris Candido died from a blood clot in his fucking foot or his fucking ankle or some shit. That clot sent the fucking signal up to his fucking heart and he died. You don't know which injury is going to be the one that fucking hurts you or kills you. You don't know. Every time we step through those ropes, we roll the fucking dice. Every single fucking time. And, you know, this generation in particular does some pretty impressive yet dangerous shit on a daily fucking basis. So it's just a call sometimes to just, you know, if Vince was here right now, he would fucking tell people, calm down. Take your time. Do it right. Take care of yourself. He was on the road himself. I have the text messages between him and Ray's, and there's a lot of conversation that's took place about his health and trying to turn that around, and the motivation was there, but it was too late. It was too late. And that's not saying that to be mean. I'm not saying that to push any buttons or anything like that. It's just, to me, you know, I was already kind of doing stuff, but like, to me, like, that's, I think for the room as a whole, it should be a wake-up call, because he's such a good dude. And this is such a tragic end to something that should have been a miraculous life. Cut short because, you know, he probably should have taken it more serious a lot sooner. So if you're listening to this, you're obviously alive. You're obviously doing your thing. That's my call to action. That's my inspiration from this, to turn this sad situation into something a little bit more positive. I have a 10-year-old son. I would like to see him eventually get married and have his own kids. I don't know if I get there if I keep ballooning. So, yes, I love wrestling, and maybe wrestling is the vehicle that I'm using to stay in shape or to get into better shape. But it's my it's my motivation. But at the same time, it's good that I have a motivation, because there's a lot of people out there who want to do better. They're just not as motivated. So find the motivation. Find a way to either change the diet, to get in the gym, to do something active. You know, it doesn't even need to be full-on exercising if you don't want to sit there and fucking grind and pick things up and lift them and put them down or whatever. Stay active. Move around. You know, get the circulation going. Get the metabolism going. Feel alive. Move around. And it'll help you in the long run for sure. I was just going to say probably, but more than likely, yeah, it'll help you in the long run. So, I mean, if Vince was here right now, I'm pretty sure he'd be saying the same shit, you know, because that's what he was vibing on before he went. Before the show, before he had the accident. That's what he was vibing on. Exercising, eating right, trying to get his shit together, and, you know, I'm tired of feeling like this all the time, and my body hurts and stuff. So he was trying to change it around, but, you know, sometimes when you beat your body to shit is when you reverse the gears that you become vulnerable to the shit. You know what I'm saying? So take it, those are my two takeaways. For everybody who wants to talk shit, fuck them. And for everybody who really wants to pay homage to a good dude, follow in the path that he was on in his last days, which was to better himself and to be healthier and to give it an actual shot. So to his family, I send my condolences. Again, the GoFundMe will be in the description, pretty much attached to this on every platform. I'm going to have the GoFundMe link on that. So, no sign off here, nothing crazy. We're just going to go ahead and end our show in the traditional 10-bell salute for our fallen brother, our lost loved one, Vince Steele. Thank you very much for everything you've ever done for me, for my family, for my friends and their families, for the help that you've given, for the brotherly love that you've given. I'm very sad that I won't be able to see you in the Bronx anymore and give you that dap that I always give you when I see you. I especially love the fact that you were able to hug me when I got back in the ring. That was a special moment for me because I've known you for so long. And to see you happy, to see me happy doing my thing really meant a lot. So thank you so much for everything you've done. And now we'll do the tempo salute, and I'll see you guys next week.